adopt resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of agreement with the City and County of San Francisco Public Utilities Commission for the San Andreas Pipeline Number 2 replacement project.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Before I turn it over to the project manager at SFPUC to present on this project, as mentioned, this item in front of you is in regards to the execution of a memorandum of agreement with the City and County of San Francisco Public Utilities Commission. And as you may recall, back in 2015, a section of the 54-inch pipeline that is otherwise known as the San Andreas Pipeline Number 2 ruptured, sending millions of gallons in water down through our city park. From that incident, SFPUC inspected the pipeline and are proposing to rehabilitate 4 segments in San Bruno from Harry Tracy Water Treatment Plant to the Golden Gate National Cemetery. Staff has been coordinating with SFPUC on this project, and the staff is here tonight to provide a brief presentation and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Please.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Janet Ng, project manager with the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, and I will be presenting the San Andreas Pipeline Number 2 replacement project that we will be constructing in the spring of this year. Next slide, please. The SFPUC provides water to 2.7 million people in Alameda, Santa Clara, San Mateo, and San Francisco counties. San Andreas Pipeline Number 2 is a critical transmission pipeline that connects the Harry Tracy Water Treatment Plant in northern San Mateo County to San Francisco. In addition to San Francisco, it serves the city of San Bruno, the city of South San Francisco, and the North Coast County Water District, or the city of Pacifica. This project was not a part of the WSIP, or Water System Improvement Program, which addressed seismic deficiencies in the system. This project was identified as a high priority in 2015 when a segment failed, resulting in the loss of about 15 million gallons of water. Upon inspection of one segment, it was discovered that the pipeline was severely corroded. San Andreas Pipeline Number 2 was constructed of quarter-inch thick lock bar steel in the 1920s, so some sections are over 90 years old. Lock bar steel pipe is basically 2 semicircles of pipe that are joined together by pressuring a bar to sandwich the longitudinal seams together. So the pipe is not welded together. It's basically pretty primitive, but has lasted 90 years. So next slide, please. So we will be rehabilitating approximately 6,500 feet of 54-inch diameter pipeline in 4 segments, as you can see here on the map here. As Jimmy mentioned, we'll be starting at our Harry Tracy Water Treatment Plant, and the last segment is at the Golden Gate National Cemetery. So most of the pipeline work will be done by open trench and some by slip lining, where a smaller diameter pipe is pushed through the existing pipe. Open trench is the preferred method because it maintains the hydraulic capacity of the pipeline. Slip lining will be done where we have difficult access or where trenching across roads will be highly disruptive. Construction is anticipated to start in the second quarter of 2018 this year and finish the first quarter of 2020. Water supply will not be affected during construction. Next slide, please. At segment 1, we will be replacing approximately 2,300 feet of pipeline. And again, as Jimmy mentioned, this is where the pipe failed in 2015. This segment spans from Harry Tracy Water Treatment Plant to the Junipero-Serra County Park. All work will be inside the treatment plant and county park, except at the crossing of Crystal Springs Road. Not sure if you can see that, but it's kind of at the top of the photo there. So most of the work will be open trench, except we will be slip lining inside Harry Tracy due to access. So we have worked closely with the county park staff, and we have an MOA that will be presented at their board meeting for approval in February. The park will remain open during construction. Next slide, please. So segment 2, we will be replacing approximately 1,175 feet of pipe. This segment starts just north of Highway 280 and ends north of Peninsula High School. It runs parallel to Cortland Drive and Peninsula High School inside the Chinese church grounds. All pipeline work here will be by open trench. We have been in touch with the church and high school to inform them of our activities and to ensure that we avoid any conflicts with their operations and services. In addition, we have an agreement with the high school to use property for staging. Next slide, please. At segment 3, we will be replacing approximately 2,750 feet of pipeline. So this segment starts just east of the Highway 280 San Bruno exit ramp and ends just south of the 280 ramp behind the Molly Stones Market and the YouTube building. The majority of the pipeline work here will be open trench, except for the crossing of San Bruno Avenue, which will be by slip lining. We have worked with the Molly Stones and YouTube staff to ensure that impacts will be minimal to their operations. Next slide. At segment 4, which is one of the more complicated segments, we will be replacing approximately 1,450 feet of pipeline. This segment starts north of Highway 380 at the Cherry Avenue Villa, runs through the Peninsula Place, and ends at the Golden Gate National Cemetery. Most of the pipeline work will be done by open trench except 2 locations. We will be slip-lining about 80 feet under Highway 380, and we will have a trenchless crossing of Sneath Lane. We have had multiple meetings with the president of Cherry Avenue Villas and the general manager of Peninsula Place to discuss the project and to identify ways to minimize impacts to the residents. Next slide, please. So the project schedule, bids were received, and we anticipate construction to start the second quarter of this year and again finish the first quarter of 2020. Segment 1 will be the first since that was identified to be the most critical. The sequence of segments 2, 3, and 4 will be determined by the contractor's schedule and approved by the SFPUC. Each segment must be completed from construction to restoration within 6 months. Next slide, please. We understand that construction can be disruptive, and we have built into our plans and specifications requirements to minimize disruption and to complete the work as quickly as possible. The contractor will submit and implement a noise control plan that complies with the City of San Bruno noise ordinances. Work will be between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. on weekdays. Hauling of equipment and materials will be scheduled outside of peak commute hours as much as possible. We will be performing pre- and post-construction surveys to document site conditions. We will protect utilities in place or reroute if necessary. And we will work with property owners and the City of San Bruno staff to repair damage caused by construction. In addition to complying with the California Environmental Quality Act, we will also be following the SFPUC's standard construction measures, which are designed to ensure environmentally responsible practices. We will have a full construction management team to monitor the contractor to ensure all work is in compliance with local ordinances. Next slide, please. Since we will be working in a densely populated area, we have an extensive outreach program. Our communications team has been working with the residents, property managers, and local agencies since late 2016 and will continue to work with them through construction. Keeping affected neighbors informed about our work is important. We will have project signage and mailers prior to and during construction. We will provide updates to the homeowners associations and organizations and present at board meetings if requested. We have been known to set up impromptu tables and coffee booths to reach affected neighbors and for one-on-one interactions. All information will be updated on our sfwater.org Peninsula website, and we will have a 24/7 answer line to respond to any questions from the public. Next slide, please. That concludes my presentation, and I just wanted to take this time to thank city staff of San Bruno for their time in coordination with us, Jimmy Tan, Wing Wong, Michael Cato, and Mark Zaffarano. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions of Janet? Marty?
Yes. The contractor, it's been selected already?
We received bids, and the apparent low bidder is Mitchell Engineering.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Irene?
Is it possible with city staff if we can link up their website and phone number so that people can see it from our website? Okay, I think that would be good. Thank you.
Other questions from council?
Yep.
Laura?
Through the chair, your previous project that was completed on Whitman created an issue with the hillside because you dig up an area and the earth, the sort of the dirt settles, and now you've created sort of a path of least resistance for the water. And I think that there's what's going on now is you've got water damage going into that apartment building. So I guess the question is going forward with this project, since so much of San Bruno, I guess I would be concerned of what you've learned from that project and what you're going to be doing differently in this project.
Yes, we are aware of some of the practices and some of the construction that has affected previous properties, and we are working with the City of San Bruno, and even for this project, we understand some of the areas are very steep in slopes, and we have enlisted a geotechnical engineer to identify these problems and to basically design a solution for our work. I know, for example, one of the locations is inside the county park, and we do have steep areas. And we had an engineer perform a finite element analysis to basically tell us what we needed to do to keep that slope in place. And we are working with the county park, and they have brought this up to us too, that there are steep slopes and they're concerned about erosion. So we do have that built into our plans and specs.
Thank you.
Other questions? Jim, any questions for Jimmy or staff? Any action by council? It's a resolution.
I'll introduce the first, no, I'll waive the first reading.
No, this is just introduction of
This
the resolution.
this is just
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
Just the
all right.
resolution.
I'll introduce the ordinance.
The
Resolution.
It's resolution. Ah!
That's the next one. That's okay.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Item B.
Councilmember O'Connell,
Hi, whatever I
Councilmember
said.
Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Medina.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here, Jim. Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.